Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is round 2 of season 9 of the Virtual Drift Championship. We're at the Pittsburgh International Race Complex pit race for a wonderful and fun layout. It's a little tricky, it's a little technical, it looks maybe a little easy on paper as we go right into our lineup. If you're just now joining us for today, we've already made it through qualifying, and this is the top 32 main event. Start of the course on your left-hand side of the screen with that 50-mile-per-hour roll, where you then get on throttle after that turn down the hill and initiate into clip 1, a course filled with nothing but outside zones. But again, we do have those inside reference points. We don't want to see lead drivers dropping a wheel over those inside yellow lines in between clip 1 and 2, and then we have another one in between clip 4 and 5. But moving through the course from clip 1 out to clip 2, your next outside zone, and then up a fairly steep hill into outside zone 3 in your first wall ride. A very small little decel zone there. Judges want to see those lead drivers picking up throttle pretty much right when they get in that zone. Waste no time and power on through that large outside zone with a huge wall ride at clip 3. And then work your way down the hill for clip 4, filling that outside zone and then getting around that inside reference point. We don't want to see those lead drivers dropping, again, wheel over that yellow line, much less over the rumble strip. But Chase, it's okay to drop a little bit on the inside there to maintain that proximity. And then we move further downhill into clip 5, your next outside zone, and then your next wall ride at clip 6. Small little decel zone there, and same thing, get on throttle soon and early right when that zone starts, and then continue powering through outside zone 6 and then transition across that track to outside zone 7 at a very small little off throttle point there before reaching clip 7 and filling that zone, and across that finish line again, full throttle across there. We'll take a look at our top 32 bracket as well. Take screenshots if you need to, but we've got Alan Hines and Linus Torquez will start things out for us today in that top left-hand side of the bracket. Then Nico Stelea, Brandon Swan, Daniel Andreev, Vladislav Yakulis, Brandon Garner, and Abdul Rahman Al-Shetley all starting us out. And we've got our first battle at the line ready to go. Alan Hines will lead Linus Torquez here in the top 32. So wait on judges to send them off. Make sure everybody's ready. All 3 of our judges today, Chris, Ed, and Carl. And Alan Hines out front in that RTR Mustang. Team Hinesy. Linus giving chase. And initiating in, filling outside zone 1. Very good, nicely done from Alan Hines up front. Bumper to bumper through that transition is Linus. Look at there, applying some pressure in that second transition. Here they go, down that hill, clip 5, now 6. Very smooth from Alan out front in that RTR Mustang. A lot of angle there before transitioning into 7 and across the finish line. What a start to the top 32. We'll take a second look at it here on the replay. Again, Alan out front, Linus giving chase. Initiating in. Way to fill that first outside zone 2 as well. But Linus sticking right with that RTR Mustang up front, staying with him. Bumper to bumper through each and every one of these transitions. Staying with that Mustang out front. Right in the pocket for outside zone 6. But again, Alan doing exactly what he should be doing in that lead position, showing us why he qualified first. They drive back to that line. Linus Torquez will now lead Alan Hines for the second half their top 32 battle. There we go. Again, Linus out front. Allen may be going for that single file initiation. He does. And Linus with a lot of angle there, dropping a little bit of tire across outside zone to him just barely. We see the small puff of dirt there, and Allen having a little bit of contact through the transition along the bumper there, heading into outside zone 4 as they fill outside 6, now into 7, all the way through and across the finish line. Wow. Let's take another look here. Linus out front, getting on throttle. Good initiation. Again, lots of angle there. Runs a little bit wide, drops a tire. Allen doing a good job back there in that chase position, bumper to bumper. And then there, a little tiny bit of contact. Doesn't really affect Linus out front. Looks to maybe even affect Allen more back in that chase position. And contact can sometimes be a little weird on the sim. There they go across that finish line. And we go to our judges for the first time here in the top 32. And a quick decision there. Alan Hines getting the win over Linus Torfitz and moving on into the top 16. Next up, Nico Stelea and Braden Swan coming to the line. Nico returning to us in that RX-7. Did a couple of rounds last season. And now with us for a full season here at the Virtual Drift Championship Season 9. Here he is, round 2 in the top 32 against Braden Swan. A rookie joining us as well. Changing up his livery for round 2, and it looks good. AOM 370Z. And chasing Nico Stelea. Here we go. On throttle, initiating it, filling outside zone 1 nicely. And 2 as well as Nico working his way up the hill now. Building a little gap on Braden, but Braden's right there with him for the transition and reels him in down the hill for outside zone 5, now 6, right up against that wall. Braden trying to reel him in and get close and close. And there they go, finishing out first half of their top 32 battle. And we'll take a second look here on this replay with Nico out front. Braden giving chase. Snappy initiation. Braden jumping right on the door, but does make a small correction there in that chase position as he reels Nico back in for outside zone 3 right along the bumper. Nicely done. And then there for outside zone 5 and heading down that hill once more on the bumper that doesn't quite reel him in there for outside zone 6, and then makes quite a dive there for outside zone 7 and with him as they cross that finish line. Make their way back to the line, giving me a little breather. Flip it around. Braden Swan will now lead. Nico giving chase. Second half of their top 32 battle. Good initiation, a lot of angle from Braden Swan out front. He still manages to fill outside zone 2. Nico getting a little caught up in the angle there as you see him sacrificing a lot back there, but makes the dive down the hill. Similar to Braden Swan now into outside zone 6. Nico a little bit closer than maybe Braden was out front. And last and final transition, filling all of outside zone 7. Wow. Again, going back to that replay. Initiating in again, tons of angle there. He rotates through outside zone 1. Nico deals with it nicely, but here stumbling a little bit back there in that chase position, but makes it work for the transition down the hill. Backs off it once more for that transition into 6 and then reels him right back in. Bumper to bumper once more, sacrificing a little bit back there in that chase. Braden doing a good job up front. Tough one to call here in the top 32. Nico on the left and Braden Swan on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Again, the track the layout will get released. You can find the track on Overtake right now. And look at there, we have a decision. Braden Swan does get the win over Nico Stelea and moves on into the top 16. Qualifying 17th today. And moving on Daniel Andreev. And Vladislav Yakulis up next. And ready to go at the line. Daniel qualifying 8th and Vladislav Yakulis qualifying 25th. There we go, lights are illuminated. And we're off for the first half of this battle. Vladislav looking to go, well, we thought we was going to go single file, but he's going for the side-by-side, and oh my goodness, he does end up a little bit on the inside there. Can he make that transition work? He does. Daniel keeping things going, transitioning down the hill now, filling outside zone 4. Vladislav right back in the fight now. Ooh, and just barely makes that one work as well. In the outside zone 6, last and final zone here. Door to door across that finish line. Scrappy first half to this battle here as we take a second look. Daniel out front. Vladislav giving chase. Look at that initiation, but again, does put Vladislav a little bit on the inside and then almost ends it all there into outside zone 3. Pulls it a little bit there back in that chase, leaving outside zone 3. Risen back in quickly. Right there. Almost in the pocket again, a little bit on the inside there. And then making that last and final dive, finishing out the first half of their battle. As we flip them around. Vladislav now out front. Daniel Andreev giving chase. Applying a little bit of extra pressure there around the roll. And again, 50-mile-an-hour roll, and they initiate in. Oop, dropping a little bit of tire. There is Vladislav out front. Daniel doing a good job back there in that chase position, preparing for that transition. Nicely done, staying with him, staying in that pocket. Good transition into 6 from both of them as well, but Vladislav pulling away a little bit as they work their way into outside zone 7 now and across that finish line. Let's take another look. Right back to the replay. Vladislav out front this time. Second half of their top 32 battle. Daniel giving chase. Nicely done from Daniel right in that pocket. He doesn't drop a tire the way Vladislav does out front. Vladislav really moving through the course. Down the hill now, filling outside zone 5. Daniel still right there with him, but here we see a little bit of separation in outside zone 6. Then last and final move there, crossing that finish line. Once more, we go to our judges here in the top 32. Daniel Andreev on the left, Vladislav Yakulis on the right. Looks like we have a split decision. Chris goes left. Carl goes left as well. Ed goes right for Vladislav, but Daniel Andreev is going to get the split decision win and move on into the top 16. Fantastic job from them. We'll bring up our current bracket. That should update here in just a second as well. Daniel Andreev, yep, there it is. Getting the win. Braden Swan as well, and Alan Hines moving on into the top 16. But up next, Brandon Garner and Abdurrahman Al-Shetwi. Up next and at the line, ready to go. Brandon Garner will lead. And Shetley will give chase. Here we go, lights are on. Then work their way around this 50-mile-per-hour roll, and then on throttle as Brandon crosses that extra yellow line, filling outside zone 1, and Abdul-Rahman getting a little out of shape there through turn 1. Looks like his car just didn't initiate the way he wanted to, didn't quite get the angle. And Brandon Garner works his way through a clean run so far as he transitions into outside zone 6, and big contact from Shetley in that chase position. Make sure and take a second look at it on our replay. Again, Brandon out front. Was that initiation? Yeah, that car just diving into the inside of Shetley as they work their way through outside zone 3 now. Transition down the hill. Brandon pulling a little gap. Work their way through outside zone 5 now, and here's that transition. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. The judges will, I think, take their time with that one. There is a small decel zone heading into outside zone 6. But again, it's very small, and judges want to see those drivers picking up throttle right when they get in that zone. So they'll take their time, probably analyze that a little bit, but we'll switch them around first. Abdul-Rahman Shetley and Brandon Garner. The second half of their battle after that hard contact in the outside zone 6. I don't think either one reset either from damage to their cars. So initiate in and fly through outside zone 2 now. Up into 3. Cresting over the hill now and then back down it. Filling outside zone 4. Brandon Garner staying right there with him. Matching that line and angle nicely in that chase position of Abdul-Rahman. Nice and clean this time around. Abdul-Rahman super deep at the end of outside zone 6, and nicely done across that finish line. So got a clean run out of them two for the second half of their battle, and we'll take a second look at it. Abdul-Rahman out front, good initiation, filling outside zone 1 right along that reference point. Brandon right there in chase, bumper to bumper through that transition, reels him in through outside zone 3, and then stays with him down the hill here. They work their way across 5 now into 6. Right along that wall is Shetley, and then there we see that bumper pop out from the wall and filling the last and final outside zone. Oh, we will go to our judges here. Brandon on the left, Abdul-Rahman Shetley on the right. And there it is. Brandon Garner gets the win. Moving on into the top 16, so contact fault on Abdul-Rahman Shetley. Brandon Garner getting the win. Moving on into the top 16, we'll pull up our bracket once more. And top left corner of the bracket done. Our first group, Alan Hines getting the win over Linus Tornquist. Braden Swan getting the win over Nico Stelea. Daniel Andreev winning over Vladislav Yakovich, and Brandon Garner getting the win over Abdul-Rahman Shetley. But next up, Nick Hang and Ernestas Yakulis, Brandon Patrick and Darius Ostrika, Austin Zalewski and Danielis Barangas, Marcel Studinski, and Daishan Reeves. Up next for our second group here in the top 32. Getting the last call from race control there. And the groups are allowed to load in, get a couple of runs in, let them make sure all their equipment is working and in order and ready to go to send them for battles. Again, Nick Hang and Ernestas Yakulis will be up next. Nick Hang will lead as he qualified 4th, and Ernestas qualified 29th after making it through that last 16. All right, here they come to the line. Around that 50 roll. On throttle. A good initiation from Nick Hang. Nick dialed in with the Sierra. Looking good through outside zone 3 with Ernestas right there in chase, right along the bumper. Door to door down the hill. Filling outside zone 5, coming in at 6 now. A little shimmy shake. I don't know if that was maybe a little bit of lag there from Nick Hang. Oh my goodness gracious, super deep in the outside zone 7. Almost throwing it away there, Nick Hang. Let's take a second look. Great initiation. Ernestas trying to apply some pressure right off the bat and does a good job doing so. Nicely done with that transition up the hill, as well as Nick fills outside 3, 4, and 5 here. Ernestas right there on the bumper, making that transition into 6, staying with him. And there we see that bumper pop out from the other end of the wall before crossing the finish line. Switch it up. Second half of their battle here in the top 32. Ernestas out front this time. Nick Hang giving chase. Ernestas working his way through that last 16. Can he work his way through top 32 against Nick Hang here? Nicely done for turn 1, Nick. Almost out of shape there for that transition. Falling back a little bit to Ernestas now, having to really mend down the hill. Makes another dive here in outside zone 6. Ernestas staying smooth out front. And filling outside zone 7 as well. My goodness. Let's take another look. Off they go. Filling 1 could have maybe had some more angle from Ernestas to start with, but he makes the line work through turn 1. Could have been a little bit deeper in 3, but there we see Nick Hang just not quite in the flow of it in that chase position, not quite matching the angle and line of Ernestas out front. Last and final dive there, and there they go across that finish line. We'll go to those judges, Chris, Ed, and Carl. Nick Hang on the left, Ernestas Yakulis on the right. Here we go. It looks like we have decision. Chris, Ed, both go right for Ernestas. And Carl goes left for Nick Hang, but either way, Ernestas gets the win, moves on into the top 16 after battling his way through the last 16 battles. Up next, Brandon Patrick and Darius Ostraka. Both at the line ready to go. Brandon qualifying 13th, Darius qualifying 20th. Brandon there in his new E36 looking fantastic, and Darius returning to us in the E92, but 2AR power this season. Go for that top 32 battle. Brandon Patrick out front, Darius giving chase. And initiating in a lot of angle from Brandon Patrick out front. Makes the line work, picking up throttle aggressively in outside zone 3. Great transition for 4 and down into 5 now, locked into that angle. Darius making a dive into outside zone 6 with Brandon out front. Last and final one here as they work their way through outside 7. Darius Ostria right on the door. Let's take another look here. Brandon out front on the replay. Darius giving chase. Like synchronized swimmers on the initiation. Nicely done from Darius. Gets a little hung up on that transition, but ends up pretty much in the pocket there. Now working their way down the hill. Bumper to bumper once more with Darius in that chase position. Staying there with him, matching the angle and the line nicely. As well as 7. Good clean battle to start this out. Flip it around. Darius will now lead Brandon Patrick. Second half of their top 32. Boy, Brandon going after it, but falls back a little bit after the initiation. Darius on a nice line into outside 3. Could have been a little bit deeper there at the start of it, but all the way out there towards the end. Brandon now reeling him in down the hill, almost dropping a tire. I don't think so, though. Super close as Brandon reels him back in for outside zone 6. Now into 7, keeping things going and across that finish line. Let's take another look. Darius out front in the chase, initiating in, getting away from Brandon a little bit in that chase, but look at there, bumper to bumper and then door to door in the beginning part of the outside zone 3. They work their way down the hill now. Brandon catching back up, and it looks like maybe just a little skip of throttle there from Darius rather than dropping a tire. There they go across that finish line, absolutely door to door. We'll go to our judges. Brandon on the left, Darius on the right. And there they go. It's going to be unanimous decision. Brandon Patrick getting the win over Darius Ostria and moving on into the top 16 where he'll later face Ernestas. All right, and next up, Austin Zalewski and Danielis Barangauskas. Austin qualifying 5th, and Danielis making it into the top 32, the last person to lock it in, qualifying 28th. We'll face off here in the top 32. Right, they are off. Initiating in, nicely done from Austin. Was very fast in the practice servers throughout the week, filling outside zone 3, and Danielis reeling him back in down the hill. Austin maybe a little bit on the inside there, in between zones 4 and 5, and getting a little nudge from Daniel in that chase position, and there they go across that finish line. Take a second look here. Austin Zalewski again out front. Danielis Barangauskas giving chase. Flying through turn 1 is Austin. Could have been a little bit deeper at the beginning of 3, but right there is Danielis maybe making a little bit of contact through that transition, and there we see the big nudge from Barangauskas in that chase position, that E36, and there they go, finishing out the first half, their top 32 battle. here we go. Danielis will now lead Austin. Second half of their battle, good initiation from both of them. Look at Austin applying pressure through turn 1. Reels him back in for outside 3 now. Preparing for it nicely and staying with him down the hill into outside zone 5 now. And Yelis looking to get away from that Supra and just can't shake him. Let's take a second look here. Second half of the battle. Barangas out front. Austin making a quick dive there through turn 1, staying with him bumper to bumper through transition. Filling 3 with Barangas out front, staying with him down the hill as well. Filling outside zone 5 nicely is Barangas out front. 6 as well, but again, just doesn't shake. That Supra of Austin Zaleski in the chase position will go to our judges. Again, here in the top 32. Austin on the left, Barangas on the right. And there it is. Austin Zaleski gets the win. Unanimous decision over Barangas in his E36. So we'll see Austin later on into the top 16 where he'll face the winner of our upcoming battle, Marcel Studinski and Dijon Reeves. Our last and final battle here on the left-hand side of the bracket. Quickly on throttle at the end of that 50-mile-per-hour rolling to a bunch of angle out front is Marcel, transitioning up the hill for outside zone 3, now working his way through it. Dijon in that chase position, slow rotation through that transition at outside zone 4 and staying with him through the course though in that Corvette as they make that transition into outside zone 7, now almost giving him a little nudge across that finish line. Good start to the battle. We'll take a second look. Marcel out front. Rotating to a ton of angle there. Filling outside zone 2. And working his way through 3. Again, could be a little bit deeper through 3. But filling 4 nicely with Dijon right there in the pocket. 5 as well. Bumper to bumper through that transition. And once more, could have been a little bit deeper. 4-6. He does work out to the wall towards the end of it. But not quite so much in the beginning. Back to the line, Dijon now out front. Marcel giving chase. Second half of their top 32 battle. Last battle on the left-hand side of the bracket. Almost maybe some contact before initiation. I don't know. It looked a little odd there, but we'll continue on as they do. Maybe a little bit of contact there in outside zone 3. They work their way down the hill, filling 5 now as Reeves out front into 6, all the way out there to the wall. There's that Corvette. Marcel, last and final dive, pulls it off, and they finish their run door to door. Let's take a second look here. Yeah, Reeves out front. See if there's maybe some... Yeah, definitely. It looks like Reeves goes for his normal little flick and maybe getting shut down a little bit from that Supra in the chase position. They work their way down the hill now. Really didn't affect it all too much other than a little bit of separation there in outside, or excuse me, that whole turn 1. There they go across that finish line, filling outside zone 7. And we'll go to our judges. Studinski on the left. Reeves on the right. And there it is. Unanimous decision. Rampage getting the win and moving on into the top 16, qualifying 21st today, and he'll have to face Austin Zalewski later on in the top 16. We'll take a look at our bracket, and there it is. Left-hand side of the top 32 is complete. Alan Hines getting the win, and he'll face off against Braden Swan in the top 16. And Daniel Andreev and Brandon Garner also getting wins in their top 32 battles. They'll face off in the top 16 as well. Ernestas Yakulis and Brandon Patrick, as well as Austin Zalewski and Dijon Reeves, all getting wins in the top 32 and moving on into the top 16. So up next, the right-hand side of the bracket, Artem Chokov and Daryl Diaz, Martinez Ostria and Augusto Fetta, Luciano Canero and Abdulaziz Al Harvey, Cameron Mustard and Tikhon Pileski will be our next group of drivers to face off here in the top 32. Looks like first battle on the right-hand side of the bracket is up to the line and ready to go. Artem Chokov and Daryl Diaz. Artem will lead first from that right lane. Daryl Diaz will give chase. There we go. Initiating in big angle. Filling outside zone 2, up the hill and filling outside zone 3 now with Daryl Diaz in the chase, applying some pressure down the hill, maybe pushing him along. And some contact into outside zone 6 and shutting the run down. Let's take a second look here to get those names updated on the stream. Initiating in is Artem, working his way up the hill now. Again, Daryl right there in that chase position, right in the pocket, making a good transition down the hill. And almost pushing him along, but not quite. Doesn't look like any contact was made. And there we have some contact from Daryl Diaz in that chase position. They'll make their way back. Daryl Diaz up front this time. And initiating in for the second half of their battle, almost a little bit on the inside as Daryl Diaz out front as he works his way through outside zone 3 now with a little bit of separation in between these two drivers as Artem Chokov trying to reel him back in. Into outside zone 6 now. Daryl hanging his wing over the wall. Big transition across, filling outside zone 7 now. Wow. Let's take another look here. Oh, no. A little, I didn't notice that before. A little pump in the roll. But yeah, super close for Daryl dropping a wheel on the inside there. That reference point as they work their way down the hill now. Nicely done on that reference point and filling outside zone 5, now 6 as well from Daryl. Again, hanging the wing over the wall there. And now outside zone 7. And finally, Artem back in the fight towards the end of the run. So we'll go to our judges here. Artem on the left, Daryl Diaz on the right. And there it is. Split decision. Chris and Carl both go right for Daryl Diaz. Head goes left for Artem. Daryl Diaz gets the win, moves on into the top 16. Next up, we've got Martinez Ostria and Augusto Ferreira at the line, ready to go for their top 32 battle. Yeah. Hello.
That one all comes down to the contact on that first run. But what that is that from myself and Carl's perspective, we are convinced that Artem transitions is on left foot brake, and you can hear, as we have the beautiful drone replay, which we will try and get to the stream as soon as we can, we swear. But trust us, you can hear Artem is on left foot brake and his engine starts to, you can hear his throttle input lifts off, which means he's decelerating still. And then Daryl's separation is okay, and then at the last second it suddenly speeds up. Yeah, Daryl is undercutting the line to do this, but it doesn't feel like it would cause it. It feels very much like the left foot brake and that backing off the throttle in that place, because it's going uphill, is going to slow Artem down. So for myself and Carl, we feel that is decelerating in an unacceptable area, and therefore it is lead fault. However, I thought I'll bring Ed along because he saw it differently, to let him explain it to you.
For sure.
Yeah. From my point of view, it's a very similar contact that happened in a previous battle, where the chase driver was aiming in a more shallow line as they entered into that, and I felt like Artem was maintaining enough speed through the corner. I see a lot of braking there. There's a lot of that going on, people adjusting to maintain a line around the wall. So I didn't see anything too untoward there, and yeah, the chase driver just taking a shallower line and being on power at the wrong moment just caused that, just enough contact to cause an issue. So for me, it just went the other way.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate y'all's explanation there.
Yeah, and that is one of those just examples, just for stream again. That's one of those examples of, we make it very clear to our drivers and also to ourselves as judges. We assess fault in those instances independently, and we do not influence one another, nor do we take any offence. Just say that obviously, both as professionals and as friends, we don't take any offence to any calls that judges make. If it's against our opinion, we're professionals, we take it as such, and that's the end of it. So thank you very much.
For sure, absolutely. Appreciate all that y'all do.
Scurry off back to a hole now.
Away now.
Bye-bye now. Don't let them lie to you. They're arguing all the time. All right, next battle. Martinez Ostria and Augusto Ferreira. Hopefully we didn't ice the kicker there. Almost looked like another little nudge there in the roll as they continue on, and Augusto going after it in that chase position, working their way into outside zone 3. Now Augusto trying to stay with him, sacrificing a little bit of angle and line, but there, nicely done down the hill as he slowly reels him in the outside zone 5, but then getting a little out of it in outside zone 6, while Martinez doing a fantastic job out front. Let's take another look on the replay. Martinez initiating in. Could have filled outside zone 1 a little bit better too, maybe as well, getting there a little late. We saw him a little bit on the inside compared to that reference point for turn 1, but Augusto dealing with it nicely and then slowly reeling him in down the hill. Picking up throttle quickly as Martinez for outside zone 6 and 7 as well. They'll drive back and we'll flip them around for the second half of their top 32 battle. All right, here we go. Second half of their top 32 battle. Augusto Ferreira out front. Martinez Ostria. That chase position. Picking up throttle is Augusto. And initiating in. Nicely done for turn 1 is Augusto out front. creating a little bit of separation, but Ostria reeling him in, trying to stay with him. Not quite reeling him in down the hill, but Augusto drops a small bit of tire there in outside zone 5. Fills 6 nicely. Here comes 7. Last and final wall ride and gets a small piece of it before crossing the finish line. Making a small correction there out front. We'll take a second look here. Augusto out front. Ostria giving chase. You see a little bit of separation there through turn 1. Up the hill for turn 2 and outside zone 3. Here's 4 down the hill now, and pulling away a little bit is Augusto, but there we see just that small tire drop along outside zone 5. Filling 6 nicely though. Ostria getting back into the fight, getting back into that pocket, and there we see the little bit of contact along that wall from Augusto. Judges will decide. Ostria on the left, Fetta on the right. Winner will, of course, move on into the top 16, where they'll face Diaz in his A90 Supra. And there it is, another split call. Ostria getting the win over Augusto Fetta. Carl goes right for Augusto. Chris and Ed go left for Martinez Ostria. And next up, Luciano Canero and Abdulaziz Al Harvey. Working our way through the top 32 in third group. One more group of battles after this for the top 32. And the lights are illuminating. Off. And Luciano out front. Abdulaziz giving chase. Looks like he wanted to go for the side-by-side, but then had a second thought about it. Al Harvey in that chase position, then almost... Goodness gracious. He does end up getting into the wall and outside zone 3. Somehow is still managing to keep things going, but definitely had to reinitiate back there in that chase position. Last and final transition here. Luciano out front and across that finish line. Here we go. Luciano again out front. Al Harvey giving chase. Good initiation from Canero. Filling outside zone 2. And again, there you see Al Harvey almost doing a wheelie out of the smoke into outside zone 3, but unfortunately does end up in the wall, having to pretty much reinitiate there for outside zone 4. Nice and final zone here. There they go, finishing out the first half of their battle. Not sure what's going on there with Harvey. Looks like he's going to drive into the start gate. There he goes. And we're off. Second half. Yeah, it's going to be a restart. Harvey going really slow there. Again, 50 miles per hour. They get a little plus or minus, a small 2-3 miles per hour leeway there through there. And now Harvey just not going quick enough. It's illuminated. Yeah, again, going too slow once more. That time, 42-43. miles per hour. Needs to get up to 50 miles per hour and do so quickly. And that's going to be the second strike, so hopefully you can get it right this time, so we do have a 3-strike system. He's on pace this time, on throttle. And we've got a second half of the battle. Initiating in a little bit on the inside is Harvey out front. Not quite deep in the outside zone, sacrificing some angle too. Yeah, and a little late on that transition into outside zone 4, which really sends him down the course. And just kind of off pace through it. And there they go. Finishing out. Quite the odd battle here as we take another look. Harvey out front. Canero giving chase. Initiating in. Again, dipping a wheel over that inside, not quite filling outside zone 2 as well. 3 does work it out to the outside, but sacrifices some angle. And there you see the slow rotation for 4 really has to make a check up there into outside zone 5. Somehow drops a wheel there into outside zone 6, gives the wall a little tap, keeps things going, and there they go. Across that finish line. Luciano on the left. Harvey on the right. And there it is, unanimous decision. Luciano Canero getting the win over Abdulaziz Harvey. And he'll face the winner of our next battle, Cameron Mustard and Tikhon Pesky. Cameron qualifying 10th today, while Tikhon qualifying 23rd. And ready to go at the line. Lights are on. We've got the first half of our battle here. Clean through the 50 roll. And initiating in, big angle from Cameron Mustard. Filling outside zone 2, up the hill for 3 and making it work. Does pull out a little bit of angle there for outside zone 3. Rotates through 4, nicely filling it all the way. 5 as well. Tikhon right there along the bumper of Cameron Mustard into outside zone 6. Now here comes 7, last and final one. And Tikhon making a small little correction there in that chase position. Let's take another look. Again, Cameron Mustard out front. Tikhon giving chase, going for a side-by-side. Making it work pretty good there is Tikhon. Leaving a little bit of space for that transition. Nicely done. But backs off maybe a little soon from Tikhon. Leaving outside zone 3. Kind of driving through that transition in the chase position. Cameron Mustard out front, putting down another solid run. So he did well earlier in qualifying. Pull back to the line for the second half of their battle. Tikhon will now lead. Cameron Mustard will chase. Big Cameron, oldest model in the field, predating all the extensions, and still running without him. And here we go, initiating in. Tikhon Pesky out front. Nice line through turn 1, filling outside zone 2. Cameron was right there with him, but falls back for outside zone 3. And then look at the dive from Cameron Mustard, maybe making a little bit of contact there as they work their way down the hill, filling outside zone 6. Now here comes outside 7. Rotating around, and there we go. Finishing out the second half of their exciting battle here, we take another look. Again, Tikhon out front here. Cameron Mustard giving chase and going after it. Look at there. Making a dive for Tikhon's door. Maybe dropping a little bit of tire back there in that chase position. Maybe that what led to the small gap in outside zone 3 as Tikhon works his way down the hill now. Filling 6 with Cameron right there in that pocket. Nicely done. Bumper to bumper through that transition as well. There we go, across the finish line. Possibly a tough one to call here in the top 32. Cameron Mustard on the left, Tikhon Pesky on the right. looks like we do have a decision. We've got one more time. Ed goes right, and Carl goes one more time as well. So we're going to line these cars back up, back to the line, and send them again for a one more time battle. Right, back to the line. Again, one more time, so Cameron Mustard will now lead after qualifying 10th. Tikhon Pileski qualifying 23rd here for round 2. It's a beautiful track in Pittsburgh. Here we go. Top 32, one more time battle. Cameron Mustard out front and initiating in. Tikhon right there in that chase position, locked in, and then pulling out of it a little bit there, but makes it work into outside zone 3. Once more, Tikhon doing it again there through that transition. Whoa! And off to the nether realm is Cameron Mustard. Tikhon will continue on. And there he goes across the finish line. So it's not the first time that's happened in the Virtual Drift Championship. And we'll take another look at it. We'll get a second look. It was all going so well. That is super unfortunate for Cameron Mustard as he just continues on. I bet for him it ended nicely, but we'll never know. Super unfortunate. We'll go back live. I believe Cameron Mustard made it back in too to the server, so maybe he will be able to run the second half of the battle. Yeah, he's back. And we're off. Hopefully Cameron can give it a full rip. Tikhon out front, second half of their one more time battle. And Cameron going after it as he should. Throwing it up there into outside zone 3 as well. Trying to hang on to what he can here. Putting on a show, nicely done from Cameron in that chase position. Look at there, across the finish line. Just making it even more disappointing, Cameron, as we take another look. What a good job from Cameron in this chase position, staying aggressive, maybe making a little bit of contact and sending Tikhon off the track just a little bit. It's hard to tell from that view there, but they keep things going anyway, keeping it exciting as Cameron Mustard in that chase position. Maybe a little contact there, transitioning into outside zone 6. Tikhon doing a good job out front though, keeping it together, and there they go across the finish line. Either way, good job from Cameron Mustard, taking Tikhon to a one more time. Unfortunately, lagging out there in the first half of their one more time battle. But here it is, Cameron Mustard on the left, Tikhon Pileski on the right. And there they go, unanimous decision. Tikhon does get the win, moves on into the top 16. He'll face off against Luciano Canero later on in that top 16. But again, great job from Cameron Mustard. Fortunate to see him lag out in that way and the battle come to that. But either way, put on a great show. We'll take a look at our current battle here. Or excuse me, our current bracket. I'm flustered. Anyways, Sacco, Soloman, and Olivier Blias will be up next for our last group of top 32. Stanislav Terasol and Yaroslav Vasilio. Reese Tatterson and Brett Wolford, and Vitaly Isoft and Mustafa Amadeh. Here they are. Sacco Sullivan at the line. Olivier here with him to give chase. Safety roll and on throttle. Back initiating in, and look at Olivier right there with him in that chase position through turn 1, turn 2 as well, working their way through outside zone 3, 4 down the hill. Zach locked into that angle as he transitions across for outside zone 6 now, picking up that throttle early. And Olivier, another dive there in that chase position and pushing Zach across that finish line. Let's take a second look. Soloman out front, initiating in, and look at the tuck up underneath from Olivier, making it work, applying the pressure in outside zone 3. And just as smooth as ever as Zach O'Sullivan out front there, working his way into outside zone 6, now 7, and there's that nudge across the finish line from Olivier. Back at the line, ready to go. And initiating in, Zach reeling him in quickly and staying with him through outside zone 2, now into 3, and staying with him nicely here, preparing for that transition. And a little bit of gap created between them two, but quickly filled by Zach O'Sullivan in that chase position, now applying even more pressure in outside zone 6, now 7 as well, and across that finish line. Let's take another look here. Olivier out front, initiating in, filling outside zone 1 nicely. Zach, again, tucking up underneath, similar to Olivier, but did he do it better than Olivier? I'm not so sure. They work their way down the hill. Olivier maybe rotating a little bit late through outside zone 4, but fills 5 nicely. 6 as well, picks up throttle quickly. Zach taking advantage of that clean line through 6 and applying some pressure, and 7 as well. Close, tough battle between these two. Olivier on the left, or excuse me, on the right. Zach O'Sullivan on the left. Winner moves on into the top 16. And look here, we have another one more time here in the top 32. This time between Zach O'Sullivan and Olivier Blias. Ed goes left for Zach O'Sullivan, but Chris and Carl choose one more time, so that means they will line back up. We'll see him go again here in the top 32. Right, back at the line, ready to go. Zach O'Sullivan again out front here in the one more time battle. Olivier will give chase once more. Will we have a victor here? Back, picking up throttle. Initiating in, filling outside zone 1, 2 as well. Olivier once more again with him right along the bumper and through outside zone 3. Nicely done. Oh my goodness. The transition from Olivier working down the hill now. Once more, another good transition from Olivier. Oh, almost applying too much pressure, having to really stomp on that left foot brake there and across that finish line. Let's take another look. Again, Zach out front. Great initiation. Olivier taking advantage of the clean line and angle, though, following Zach through the course nicely here. They now work their way down the hill. Zach locked into a fantastic lead run right here. Into outside 6, and there we see Olivier's car just wanting to go in outside zone 6. Having to really mash on that left foot brake. They make their way back to the line now. Zach ready to give chase. Olivier ready to lead him through the course here in the one more time. Battle between these two in the top 32. Taking up throttle and initiating in a little slow rotation from Olivier and drops a little bit of tire there on outside zone 2. Zach applying some pressure in outside zone 3. Another small tire drop from Olivier there as well. And outside zone 5 now working their way through 6. Zach applying some more pressure in the chase position and crossing the finish line. Well, some minor mistakes out front this time from Olivier. So we'll take another look at it here. Picking up throttle when he should, initiating in. Again, a little slow rotation. That's probably what led to that little bit of extra momentum he had through turn 1 and dropping a tire for outside zone 2. We see just a tiny one there for 4 and then another one for 5. So we see that small hiccup in the attitude of the car and the dirt popping up, but fantastic transition into the last and final zone. Zach still applying pressure all the way through that course with the small mistakes out front. Either way, it's still a tough one to call here. Zach Soloman on the left, Olivier on the right. Who will get the win and move on into the top 16? We do have a decision, and it's going to be another split when Chris goes left. Carl goes left as well. Ed choosing one more time there in the middle, but Zach Sullivan gets the split decision win and moves on into the top 16. Fantastic job from Olivier, though. Just those small mistakes, I think, out front, dropping those tiny little bit of tires, but I can see where Ed is also coming from as well, as he did a fantastic job giving chase. And other than the small tire drops, did a really good job out front. Either way, our next battle at the line, Stanislav Terasol and Yaroslav Vasilio at the line, ready to go. Picking up throttle. Ferrari out front, initiating in. Diving in towards the inside, filling outside zone 2. And working their way up the hill now. Yaroslav trying to apply some pressure in that big Mercedes. They work their way down the hill now, reeling him in slowly. Good transition, bumper to bumper there, and a big little dive there. Big little, big, very big, as they cross their finish line. Take another look. Stanislav out front, Yaroslav giving chase. Nicely done through turn 1. Good proximity from Yaroslav in that chase, matching the angle and line pretty nicely, but does end up with a small gap through outside 3, but does a good job down the hill. Great transition across, and there's that big little dive from Yaroslav in that chase and reeling him back in for outside 7. There they go, finishing the first half of their battle. Back to the line for the second half of their battle. Yaroslav now out front. Stanislav giving chase. Picking up throttle in that big Mercedes, initiating in. Good angle through turn 1, filling outside zone 2 and up into 3 now. Your first wall ride with Stanislav right there, backing up a little bit for that transition. He drops a little bit of tire back there in that chase position. Whoa, and then tucking underneath of that rear bumper is Stanislav in that chase position as they work their way through outside zone 7 now. Wow. Wow. Take another look. Yaroslav out front in the big Mercedes. Stanislav giving chase. And I like the initiation. A line through turn 1 up into outside zone 3. That Ferrari right there, and there's that little backup and a little hiccup there through that second transition of the course. But again, tucking up underneath for that transition into outside zone 6. There we go, across that finish line. Getting shoved across is the big Mercedes, and we'll go to our judges. Stanislav on the left, Yaroslav on the right. And there it is, unanimous decision for Stanislav Terasol getting the win. Moving on into the top 16 where he'll face off against Zach O'Sullivan. Next up, Reese Tatterson and Brett Wolford. Reese Tatterson qualifying 6th today in the RTR Mustang, and Brett Wolford will give chase in his own Mustang. Brett qualifying 27th today. Here we go. Lights are illuminated. Reese will lead Brett Wolford. Here in the top 32. Initiating in. And looking good through turn 1 so far. Brett right there. Bumper to bumper. Now door to door. Almost shoving Reese through outside zone 3. Brett staying right there with him now. Right in the pocket. Dropping back a little bit for the transition into 6. Falling back a little bit through 6 as well. And last and final transition. There they go. Working their way through that last zone. And across the finish line. Exciting start to their top 32 all Mustang battle here. Reese again out front here in the replay. Brett giving chase. Filling outside zone 1 nicely. Again, Brett right in the position he wants to be in. Making quite the dive there. Risky move in outside zone 3. Reese transitioning across, filling outside zone 5 there at the bottom of the hill. Now 6, and we see that small separation between the two through 6, and then slowly reeling him in through 7. Back of the line, ready to go. Lights are on. Off to go for the second half of their top 32 battle. Brett now out front. Reese giving chase in that RTR Mustang. You stick it to the door of Brett Wolford out front. Brett on a nice line through turn 1 up into outside zone 3 now with Reese staying with him. And he's making a little bit of contact. Might have even made some contact, but it looked like to negatively affect Reese Tatterson more as they work their way through outside zone 6 now into 7. Big angle from Brett, and Brett into the wall before crossing the finish line. Let's take a second look here. Make sure we didn't have contact before and going into the wall. It's going to be a close one. There they go, initiating in. Reese making a dive in that chase position right where he wants to be, bumper to bumper through that transition. Smooth through outside 3. There's that small little bit of contact there through the transition into 4, filling 5 nicely. Here's 6. Working their way through it. Brett making that last and final transition. Yep, and looks to independently go into the wall. It's a close one. I know the judges will maybe analyze it a little bit. They've got some extra camera angles that we will be working into our stream. The judges board is up. Reese on the left, Brett on the right. And there it is. Unanimous decision. Reese Tatterson gets the win, moves on into the top 16 over Brett Wolford. Fantastic battle between those two. That definitely could have went either way. But Brett going into the wall there and outside zone 7 before crossing that finish line independently is really what it's going to come down to. But next up, Dali Isoft. Mustafa Amne off for the last and final battle of the top 32, and a big initiation and dive from Mustafa Amne. And look at there, bumper to bumper coming in the outside zone 3, staying with him through that entire zone, reeling him back in down the hill now. Right there with him, bumper to bumper through that transition into 6. Now 7 coming up, last and final transition once more, bumper to bumper. Mustafa applying some pressure in that chase position, but a clean lead out front from Vitaly. We'll take a second look here. Initiating in, and again, a big dive from Mustafa there. Like the aggression, bumper to bumper, and right in the pocket where he needs to be. That chase position, nicely done. But again, Vitaly on a nice lead out front, filling these outside zones. Snappy transition into outside zone 6. Filling it all the way around, and a good transition into 7 as well, as he puts his wheel basically on that wall. A little drive back, turn around, and we'll send him off for the second half of their battle. Here they go, off for second half of the last top 32 battle. Here for round 2, Mustafa initiating in with Vitaly in chase. Mustafa a little bit of space in between, but not through the transition. Vitaly right there along the bumper, same there as well. As they work their way down the hill, almost getting pushed a little bit. Mustafa not quite filling outside zone 5, but filling outside zone 6, tugging a bumper there in that wall, and all the way through outside 7, door to door. Vitaly applying some pressure back there. Let's take a second look. Again, last and final battle here in the top 32. Mustafa, good initiation, filling outside zone 1. Vitaly, look at there, that transition into 3. Couldn't have been any better. Down the hill as well. There we see Mustafa not quite filling outside zone 5, but Vitaly dealing with it nicely there in that chase position. And then one final dive there before crossing the finish line. We'll go to our judges maybe for the last time here in the top 32. And here we go. There it is. Unanimous victory for Vitaly Isoft, but a good fight that Mustafa Amne put up. What a fantastic battle to end off the top 32 before heading into the top 16. There it is, complete top 32 bracket, and all the drivers moving on into the top 16. So it's going to be Alan Hines and Braden Swan, Daniel Andreev and Brandon Garner, Ernest S. Yakulis and Brandon Patrick, Austin Selewski and Dijon Reeves, Daryl Diaz and Martinez Ostria, Luciano Canero and Tigon Pesky, Zachary Sullivan and Stanislav Terasol, Reese Tatterson and Vitaly Isoft. So that's, again, going to do it for the top 32. We'll take a quick commercial break here from our wonderful partners, Sim Magic, Extreme Sim Racing, and Grip Royal, and we'll be right back for the top 16. welcome back to the top 16 here for round 2 at Pittsburgh. If you're just now joining us, we'll take a look at our top 16 bracket. Alan Hines and Braden Swan will be up first in our first group. Daniel Andreev and Brandon Garner will also be next in our first group. Ernestas Yakulis and Brandon Patrick. Austin Zalewski and Dijon Reeves all up next for our first group here in the top 16. So left-hand side of the bracket first, and then we will get to the right-hand side of our top 16 bracket. And beautiful layout and track here on Assetto Corsa. Again, this is round 2 at the Pittsburgh International Race Complex Pit Race. Drivers just getting their last little bit of practice runs in before we send them off again for the top 16. Alan Hines and Braden Swan will come to the line first. Alan Hines will lead after qualifying first today with that 98, and Braden Swan qualifying 17th. Looking to bring the fight to Alan Hines after finishing second place in round 1 was Alan Hines against Tikon Pileski. What a battle it was in round 1, but this is round 2 here at Pittsburgh. Top 16, Alan Hines lead Braden Swan. Going for that single file initiation. Braden going after it there in that AOM 370Z. Chasing that RTR Mustang of Team Heinze. Down Alan Hines. Transitioning down the hill now. Outside zone 5. Filling it all the way out front is that Mustang. Braden staying with him. Last and final transition into outside 7 now, filling it all the way with Braden right there in that chase position. Let's take a second look at it. Initiating in, great initiation from Alan, filling outside 1, 2, and working his way through 3 now at the top of the hill with Braden right there with him. Look at that, bumper to bumper through that transition as they work their way down the hill. Great transition once more from Braden in that chase position, applying pressure all the way through this course. That bigger Mustang of RTR out front. Awesome to see RTR officially getting involved in the virtual space. Great to see what they are doing for Alan and Reese with Team Heinze. Here they are back at the line, switching it up for the second half of their battle. Braden Swan will now lead that AOM 370Z. Picking up throttle when he should. And initiating in, filling outside zone 1. But look at Alan Hines in that chase position. No room left. Oh my goodness. And then maybe pushing a little bit too hard somehow. Braden gets right back into it like it never even happened. And they're going to continue on with this run, filling outside zone 6, now into 7, filling it all the way and crossing the finish line. Let's take a second look. Again, Braden out front. See if we can see anything. Again, there is a small decel zone, but drivers should be on throttle as soon as that zone starts. And zooming through it, it all happens so fast. Not even gonna attempt to make a call on that because you know what, they kept going like it never even happened anyway. But the judges will take their time looking it over. And we have a drone cam behind the scenes that we're working on getting right and getting it into the stream and implemented. And they can also use that online replays where they can just jump right into the replay immediately. Don't have to leave the game. Fantastic new feature from CSP. Here we go. Alan Hines on the left, Braden Swan on the right. Looks like we have a decision. And it is. So they move left for Alan Hines. Alan Hines gets the win and Yeah, I would assume it's all down to that contact. Maybe we can hear from one of the judges just to get a little bit of clarity on it.
I was already on my way.
Hey, look at there. Welcome back, Chris.
Hello. So, this one goes back again to the same, so for myself and Carl, it's the same precedent that we set with the battle with Artem Chilkov earlier, where it was a little bit different, but what happened there for us is that Braden picks up throttle very, very late, so that decel before clip 3 is quite short. It is just after you finish your transition to just as that clipping point starts. Unfortunately, Braden there doesn't pick up his throttle input until a good sort of 5-6 meters into the clipping point. Now, I know that sounds like a ridiculously short little space of time that we're talking about, but these are the margins that we're playing with at this point, and because of that, Braden is not therefore obeying the XL decel map, and as such, he is at fault for that contact.
There it is. Great explanation from you, Chris. We appreciate you. Well, we've got our next battle at the line ready to go. Daniel Andreev and Brandon Garner, number 8th and number 9th qualifier, going up against each other here in the top 16. Daniel Andreev will lead Brandon Garner, qualifying 1 position higher. What will this lead to here in the battle? Good initiation from Daniel out front, filling outside zone 2, and look at the transition and the aggressiveness from Brandon Garner in that chase once more as well, making the transition into outside zone 4, filling 5 now, and bumper to bumper again from Brandon Garner in that chase position, locked in to that pocket, the angle, the line, matching it very nicely in that chase position, but a good lead run out front to do it with. Let's take another look. Daniel Andreev filling outside zone 1, but again, Brandon just snaps right to the angle with Daniel. They fill outside zone 3, nicely done down the hill, reels him in quickly before even making it to that inside reference point, and then staying with him through outside zone 6. Great transition to finish off the course as well. There they go across that finish line, door to door. Back at the line, ready to go. These two, again, number 8th, number 9th qualifier. Brandon Garner qualifying 9th. Daniel Andreev qualifying 8th. Second half of their battle here. Picking up throttle. Initiating in, and quick, snappy initiation from Brandon Garner, making it work through turn 1, filling outside zone 2, now into 3. Working their way down the hill, filling 4. And look at the pressure being applied from Daniel Andreev in that chase position, but falling back a little bit through the transition into 6. Last and final one here from Brandon out front, filling outside zone 7. Wow. Great battle between these two here in the top 16. Let's take a second look here. Brandon Garner out front at Boundless Racing GT86. Daniel Andreev following in that IRT 1 Series Beamer and following him nicely as they work their way down the hill now. The proximity is insane there coming into outside zone 5, but then drops back a little bit, but slowly reels him in through outside zone 6, now into 7, and across that finish line. Let's take our way back to those judges. Daniel on the left, Brandon on the right. Or could we see him go one more time here in the top 16? And there they go, sliding left for Daniel Andreev. Daniel getting the win over Brandon Garner. He'll move on into the top 16 where he'll face off against Alan Hines. What a battle between those two. That could have went either way between them, but Daniel coming out on top, getting the win over Brandon Garner after Brandon had a good finish in round 1, mixing up the points a little bit there. We'll move on to our next battle. Ernestas Yakulis and Brandon Patrick. Brandon Patrick will lead first, qualified 13th. Ernestes, again, worked his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Finds himself here in the top 16. Here we go. Lights are on. Picking up throttle. Initiating in on a bunch of angle through turn 1. I think he's been running the most angle we've seen all day throughout the course, honestly, as he fills outside zone 3 now with Ernestes right there in that chase position, applying some pressure down the hill, staying there with him through the transition into outside zone 6. Now 7 coming up, last and final zone here at the wall. Brandon Patrick filling it all the way with Ernestes right there with him crossing that finish line. Let's take a second look. Again, Brandon Patrick out front in that E36, initiating in, filling outside zone 1. Tons of angle that he carries throughout this entire course there, transitioning big time into outside zone 3. Ernestes in that chase position, staying with him, applying great pressure as he stays on the bumper through each and every transition through the course, and then reels him in through the zones. They're back at the line, ready to go. Ernestes now lead. Brandon give chase. Initiating in and kind of leaving Brandon Patrick behind a little bit, but Brandon reeling him in quickly as they work their way up the hill, now cresting over it, now down the hill. Brandon reeling him in quickly. They fill outside zone 5, now into 6. Brandon staying there with him along the bumper for the last and final transition. And across that finish line. Good lead out front from Ernestes as well. We'll take a second look. Initiating in, and again, a small gap created on the run up there between them two. Picks up throttle quickly, working his way through outside zone 3 now down the hill. Filling 5, Brandon right there in chase, bumper to bumper through that transition, but a little room left to give in outside zone 6, and then 7. A nice little dive there, crossing that finish line door to door. Ernestes on the left, Brandon Patrick on the right. Move on to the top 8. Does Ernestes keep things going after battling through the last 16? Brandon cut the road short here. And look at there. Ed and Carl go left for Ernestes, Yakulis, and Chris goes right for Brandon Patrick. Ernestes gets the win, keeps things going into the top 8. Next up, Austin Zalewski and Dijon Reeves. Austin qualifying 5th today, while Dijon qualifying 21st there in the Corvette. Both find themselves here in the top 16. Winner moves on into the top 8. off we go. Another top 16 battle. The last and final one on the left-hand side of the bracket, and Austin initiating in, and that super a little bit on the inside of turn 1, and Dijon Reeves going for it in outside zone 3, staying right there with the bumper, making that transition down the hill. Doesn't quite get to the angle he maybe wanted, but does there for outside zone 6. Staying with that super, oh my goodness gracious, across the finish line. Rampage. Let's take another look. Austin out front. Reeves giving chase in the AOM Corvette. And initiating in, maybe a little bit late there as well from Reeves. A little awkward, but settles in the outside zone 3, working their way down the hill. And there we see a little bit of maybe understeer from Reeves out in that chase position. Austin putting down a very good lead run out front in that Supra, and there they go across that finish line. Here we go. Second half of this top 16 battle. Reeves up front. And a big initiation, maybe a little bit of netcode contact there right after initiation. It's a tough one to see there as they work their way down the hill. Now Austin Zalewski right there in that chase position, locked in to the pocket, locked into the bumper through the transition into 6 as well. That's the final one coming up. Almost some contact, and there it is, door to door, crossing that finish line between these two. Our second look here on the replay. Reeves out front, the AOM Corvette, initiating in, and look at there. Yeah, I don't think there is any contact. Maybe a slight bit of lag from Austin in the chase position through the rotation of the initiation, working their way down the hill now. Reeves doing a good job out front, filling these outside zones. Last and final one coming up. Yeah, wheel almost in the wall there as they cross that finish line. We'll go to the judges here. Austin on the left, Reeves on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8, where they'll face off against Ernestas Yakulis, that's been working his way through the bracket all the way from the last 16 qualifying battles. And look at there, a split decision. Chris and Carl go left for Austin Zalewski. Ed chooses one more time. Austin Zalewski gets the win, and we'll see him in the top 8 against Ernestas Yakulis. And we'll take a brief look at our bracket here. Left-hand side of the bracket, done and complete. Alan Hines moving ahead into the top 8, where he'll face off against Daniel Andreev. Ernestas also getting the win and moving on, where he'll face against Austin Zalewski. But up first, Daryl Diaz and Martinez Ostria, Luciano Canero and Tikhon Pileski, Zeko Soloman and Stanislav Terasol, Reeves Tatterson and Vitaly Sov. Up next here for the top 16. Judges discussing call in the Discord a little bit amongst the drivers, so we'll give them a little bit extra time. Again, take your screenshots of the bracket if you need to follow along. Shout out to our partners, Sim Magic, the title sponsor of the Virtual Drift Championship, Extreme Sim Racing, Rip Royal, Joka Design, all of the little track objects that we use along the track, the clipping point, even the semaphore, the cones, the start gate, all created by Joka Design. He's been killing it with some tracks over there, working with BC Racing and Ali Yusuf, making this live bracket work for us as the judges just enter in their results, automatically updating the bracket. Fantastically done from Ali Yusuf. And then everyone else in the background too, Dion, helping change some of the names and stuff like that, and update those graphics as we work through the bracket. And our three judges, Chris, Ed, and Carl. Carl with probably a slipped rib still here with us judging today. Oh, he's toughing it out. No, he doesn't feel good. And he just working at the start light and race control today. Alright, so up next, Daryl Diaz and Martinez Ostria coming to the line. Ostria to lead first. He qualified 15th today, and then Daryl, another one battling through the last 16 qualifying battles, finding himself now in the top 16. Let Dion know our names are backwards. There it is. Staying on top. So we head on into our top 16 battle here. First one on the right hand side of the bracket. Ostria out front, initiating in on some big angle, but Daryl Diaz taking advantage there, jumping on to the door and into outside zone 3 as well, backing off for that transition into forward. Now down the hill, filling outside zone 5. Martinez working himself into outside zone 6 along that wall. Nicely done, locked into the angle as well with 7. Crossing that finish line. Let's take a second look. Again, Ostria out front. Diaz giving chase. Filling outside zone 2, working his way up the hill, filling outside zone 3 as well. Again, Daryl applying some pressure, reeling him in quickly down the hill and outside zone 5. Now 6 quickly picking up throttle is Ostria, and again, just locked into that angle. Very smooth through that course. Back to the line for the second half of their battle. Daryl Diaz out front in the Supra. Martinez giving chase in the E92. Again, 2 AR powered this season around. And Diaz picking up throttle. Filling outside zone 1 and looking good through turn 1. Martinez setting up for the transition early into outside zone 3. Bumper to bumper into 4. Now down the hill 5. Filling it nicely out front is Daryl Diaz. Picking up throttle. And goes into the wall. Ending the runs too soon. Let's take another look. Daryl out front. That A90 Supra. It's a Done through turn 1. Working their way up the hill now, filling outside zone 3. Straka right there with him as they work their way down the hill now. Big transition, and yeah, he kind of had it in the bag, but just wasn't super aggressive about bringing that throttle back in, keeping himself off the wall. And we'll pull up our judges graphic here. Diaz on the left, Martinez, Ostria on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. There it is, Martinez Ostria getting the win. They're in the top 16, so he'll move on into the top 8, and we've got our next battle at the line, Luciano and Tikan Pesky. Here we go, top 16 battle. Luciano out front. Tikan going for that side-by-side initiation. He's known for it here, backing off for that transition. Bumper to bumper through it and staying with Luciano out front there. Once more down in the outside zone 5. Luciano staying smooth and putting down a really good lead run so far as he transitions across. Oh, and I shouldn't have said anything. He goes into the wall a little bit. Has to make a correction in the outside zone 7. Let's take another look. Initiating in, filling outside zone 1, 2 as well. And Luciano just being super smooth about it. Tikan applying pressure in that chase position. Look at there, door to door in the outside zone 5. Backs up for the transition, filling 6 really good. Is the both of them, and last and final one. Just gets into the wall and then kind of saved by Tikan in that chase position. Here we go, second half of their top 16 battle. Tikan Pesky out front. Luciano giving chase, and look at the angle that Tikan rotates through quickly for turn 1. Up into outside zone 3 now, top of the hill. Working their way back down, filling outside zone 4, now 5 as well, right along that white line on the track edge. Luciano doing what he can in that chase position to keep things going, making a dive there and pushing Tikan across that finish line. Let's take another look. Again, Tikan out front. Big initiation there. Luciano nice and smooth in that chase position. Sacrificed a little bit of angle there to reel Tikan back in. And then nicely done on the transition, working their way down the hill now. Both filling outside the zone 5. And then, yeah, Luciano maybe getting into the wall at outside zone 6 a little bit there after the transition. And then pushing Tikan across that finish line. So a good fight, Luciano putting up against the robot Tikan Pesky. Here is our judges' graphics. Luciano on the left, Tikan Pesky on the right. Winner moves on to the top 8. And there they go, heading right for Tikan Pesky. Unanimous decision from all 3 of those judges. We'll see him in the top 8 against Martinez Ostria. But up next, Soloman and Stanislav Terasol coming to the line. Zach will lead first as he qualified 3rd today. Stanislav qualifying 14th in that Ferrari. Here they go, around that 50 roll. And picking up throttle quickly. Initiating in is Zach out front with Stanislav right there in that chase position. Zach dropping a little bit of tire in outside zone 2, just barely as they work their way through outside 3 now. And look at there, that Ferrari tucking up underneath of that E36 out front. Does it once more in outside zone 6, and then applying a ton of pressure in that chase position, preparing early as that Ferrari for that last and final zone. And there they go across that finish line. Let's take a second look. Again, Zach O'Sullivan out front in the first half of this top 16 battle between these two. Good initiation from him out front in that E36, and there, see that little bit of a tire drop for outside zone 2, but Stanislav staying with Zach O'Sullivan out front nicely in that Ferrari. Good transition across in outside zone 6. And that Ferrari preparing a little bit early there for that last and final transition. There they go, crossing that finish line. And here they go, back at the line. Second half of their battle initiating in. Ferrari out front of Stanislav Terasol with Zach O'Sullivan in that chase position and applying some pressure through outside zone 3. Sacrifice a little bit of line, a little bit of angle there coming down the hill, but once again applying some pressure, staying with that bigger Ferrari out front. It's Zach in his E36 now. And there they go across that finish line. Close battle between these two. Let's take a second look here at the second half of the battle. Again, Stanislav out front. Zach O'Sullivan giving chase. Good initiation. Diving down towards the inside, filling outside zone 2. Bumper to bumper through the transition. There we see Zach a little bit on the inside, but holding onto it nicely. Good proximity through outside zone 5, now 6 as well, almost pushing that bigger Ferrari around and into 7, staying with him, matching that line and angle nicely. And we go to our judges. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Stanislav Terasol on the right. Winner goes to the top 8. And there it is, unanimous decision. Stanislav Terasol getting the win over Zach O'Sullivan and moving on into the top 8. Great battle between those two. All right, last and final battle here in the top 16. Reeves Tatterson out front. Isoft giving chase. Reeves and the RTR Team Hines Mustang. Initiating in and filling outside zone 1. Vitaly in chase. Nicely done, bumper to bumper, coming into outside zone 3. Now Reeves looking a little bit deeper there in the beginning part of the zone, but fills outside zone 4. 5 as well. Good angle down the hill as he transitions into outside zone 6 now with Vitaly right there in Z4, making the last and final dive in. Door to door across the finish line. Wow. Here we go. To the replay. Reeves Tatterson again out front. Vitaly giving chase. Great proximity through that first transition and into outside zone 3 from Vitaly. Bumper to bumper once more through that transition, but Reeves putting down a really solid lead run out front, picking up throttle nice and early for outside zone 6. Transitions across and filling outside zone 7 with Vitaly right there in that chase position. second half of last and final top 16 battle. Vitaly initiating in front of that RTR Mustang of Reeves, Tatterson, and Reeves bumper to bumper through that transition, tucking it up underneath once more again as they work their way down the hill, reeling that Z4 in, and maybe a little puff of dirt there from Vitaly out front, super close to dropping the tire, and Reeves a little out of shape for outside zone 6. There we go. Finishing out the second half of their top 16 battle. Let's take another look. Vitaly again out front in that Z4. Nice rotation to angle there for his initiation, filling outside zone 2. Reeves doing a good job through that transition for outside zone 3 and working their way down the hill now. A little dive there. Yeah, just a tiny little tire drop out front from Vitaly. But there we see Reeves just a little bit on the inside. Car really wanting to drive forward, and we go to our judges. And last and final battle here in the top 16. Before moving on into the top 8, Reeves, Tatterson on the left, Vitaly Isoft on the right. And there it is, unanimous decision. Vitaly getting the win over Reeves, Tatterson, and moving on into the top 8. So we'll take another look at our bracket here for the top 16 and how it all played out. Alan Hines getting the win, moving on into the top 8, where he'll face off against Daniel Andreev, Ernestas Yakulis, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles, and now in the top 8 against Austin Zalewski, Martinez Ostrika, and Tikhon Pileski. Also moving on, they'll face each other and Stanislav Terasol, all coming up next for the top 8. And take your screenshots if needed. Take that away and pull up. We won't. We'll refresh it, and there it is. OBS. Top 8 bracket. Again, Alan Hines and Daniel Andreev up next, and they're coming to the line now. Alan Hines at the line, ready to go. Ready to send it. Daniel Andreev in that chase position. That's the final 8 drivers. Here we go. Alan on throttle. Initiating in, but look at Daniel Andreev in that chase position, side by side, and Alan dropping a little bit of tire there in outside zone 2. Daniel dealing with it nicely in that chase position, making the transition happen. Here they go down the hill, filling outside zone 5, now 6, all the way out there. Daniel in that chase position, applying some more pressure, dropping back for the transition and staying with him across that finish line. Holy moly. To the replay. Again, Alan Hines out front. Team Heinze, RTR Mustang filling outside zone 1, and that IRT BMW right there with him along the bumper through that transition and staying with him through outside zone 3. Now 4 working their way down the hill, door to door with Alan Hines as they make that transition across, filling outside zone 6 now. Transition into 7. Nicely done by both of these drivers here in the top 8. And here we go. Second half of the first top 8 battle here for round 2. Daniel out front. And look at there, Alan Hines in that chase position right on the door from the get-go and staying with him through outside zone 3 now, working their way down the hill. No contact through the transition and staying with Daniel Andreev out front. Alan going crazy here in the chase position, but Daniel putting down a solid lead run as well. And look at there across that finish line. Holy smokes. Back to the replay. Daniel Andreev out front. And goodness gracious at the proximity through the initiation and hanging on to it. Bumper to bumper through that first transition and door to door through outside zone 3. Reels him in quickly before reaching outside zone 5 and then into 6 as well. Again, fantastic lead run out front from Daniel Andreev, but Alan Hines going crazy in that chase position. Let's go to our judges. Alan on the left, Daniel Andreev on the right. Yeah, chat. Being vocal, and yeah, it's going to be a tough decision for sure. We remember Alan dropping, I believe, a little bit of tire there in outside zone 2 in his lead, but then super duper went after it in his chase position. But so did Daniel Andreev in his chase position, and also put down a fantastic lead in Daniel's lead. Could we see him go one more time? And we do have a one more time from Chris. Ed chooses one more time as well. Carl goes right for Daniel Andreev. We're going to line them back up for a one more time. Again, first battle here in the top 8. Back to the line. There one more time battle here in the top 8. And Alan out front. Daniel giving chase. Can they do it again? And they up the ante. Look at Daniel Andreev going after it and matching the angle and line through turn 1. Does have a small little bobble there in the chase position. So does Alan into 3 as well. Just ever so slightly. Daniel Andreev bumper to bumper through the second transition. 3rd as well in outside zone 6. Oh my goodness. Almost backs the car up a little bit too far in that chase position and gets into the wall, but keeps it going. And there they go across that finish line. Whew. Back to the replay. Alan Hines out front in the RTR Mustang. Daniel, that IRT BMW right there with him. And again, that small little bobble there leaving outside zone 2, but Alan looks to not be as deep as he maybe wanted to for outside zone 3. Makes a teeny tiny little correction as he picks up that throttle, but locked into the rest of the run out front. Daniel as well. Look at there. They'll head back to the line. It's going to be these guys. Going to be the reason I don't have a voice tomorrow. Here we go. Daniel Andreev out front for the second half of the one more time battle. Alan Hines in that chase position. And he do it again. And going for it again is Alan Hines in that chase position. Daniel Andreev out front. Fantastic job. Oh my goodness gracious. They became one for a second there in outside zone 3 now, and outside zone 5, 6 as well along the wall as both of them. Alan Hines trying to apply as much pressure as he possibly can, and there they go across the finish line, making just a tiny bit of contact. Afterwards, let's take another look at it. Daniel Andreev out front. Oh my goodness. Both of them initiating in that chase position. Insanely, but a little bit different from one another. We see both styles of transition or initiations working from that chase position. Another really tough one to call. Judges wanted a clear, definitive winner from this, and I'm not so sure that they got one. Let's go to our judges' graphic and find out. Alan on the left, Daniel on the right. Winner goes on into the top 4. Oh, I wish that was true, Moxie. And here we go. We have a decision. Look at there. Alan Hines is going to get a unanimous victory over Daniel Andreev. What an insane battle here in the top 8. They single-handedly destroyed my voice, but I'm gonna be okay. Yes, come and help me out, Chris.
I imagine is a contentious call. That was incredibly tight. That was a really, really tight call, but for us, lead to lead, they were both pretty much picture perfect jobs, exactly what we want to see, which is 100-point qualifying line, absolutely going for it from the word go. The only difference there is in the chase. Daniel throws down an incredible chase there. Best chase we've seen him do all day, easily. Unfortunately for him, Alan then comes out and goes, oh, okay, so that's what you can do. I'll just do one slightly better than that. And it was the transition timing and the sheer aggression. As chat has noticed, were this real life, there would have been jumping cars all over the track there.
Yeah, he would have mounted it for sure.
In Assetto Corsa, wheel contacts don't matter. And because of that, Alan just put down the chase of the day. Just incredible aggression, incredible transition timing, just absolutely through his door everywhere. Awesome chasing, and it's exactly what you want to see. And again, just to highlight, both guys putting down exactly what we want to see, which is 100-point proper lead runs, no playing games, no trying to run away, no dark arts, braking and doing weird stuff on the transition, just going for it and then allowing that chase to just shine through.
Yeah, absolutely. What an insane battle there in the top 8. Alan moves on into the top 4. And Austin Zalewski is at the line, ready to go against Ernestas. Again, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Lights are on. They're off for the first half of their top 8 battle. On throttle, super on super action, and oh my goodness gracious, Ernestas going after it as well in that chase position, but makes a little bit of contact there as they work their way through outside zone 3 now, down the hill, filling 4, working their way towards 5, getting shoved around maybe there from Ernestas in that chase position. Austin out front, filling outside zone 6 now, transitioning across and filling outside zone 7. Go back to the replay. Again, Austin out front here in the top 8. Ernestas, again, a little bit of contact there. Looks like Ernestas' car just kind of shot forward, but didn't really affect Austin Zalewski all that much. Neither one of them really. They continue on into outside zone 6 now. Great proximity from that chase position and a good lead out front from Austin. Back at the line for the second half of their battle, Ernestas out front, Austin giving chase. Going after it is Austin in that chase position. Filling outside zone 2 nicely is Ernestes. Working through the course now, pulling out a little bit of angle, leaving outside zone 3, filling 5 nicely though. Oh my goodness gracious, and a little bit too deep there is Ernestes out front, having to make a big correction off some contact along the wall. Unfortunate there. We'll take a second look at it. Make sure nothing funny happened. See what we can see here on the replay. Good initiation there. Austin sacrificing a little bit of line there in that chase position there as well in the beginning of outside zone 3. Working their way down the hill now. Nicely done for 5. And then just a little bit too deep. It's interesting that Austin also didn't get into the wall as well, but there they go, finishing out the second half of their battle. We'll go to our judges here in the top 8. Ernestes on the left, Austin on the right. And there it is. Austin Zalewski getting the win over Ernestes, and we'll see him in the top 4. So fantastic job from Ernestes today, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles and getting all the way to the top 8. But next up, Martinez Ostreka and Tikhon Pileski at the line ready to go. Martinez qualifying 15th today. Tikhon qualifying 23rd. They find themselves both here in the top 8 battling and out amongst each other. Here we go. Martinez initiating in and a slow roll to angle there. Interesting from Ostreka out front, but Tikhon dealing with it well as they work their way through outside zone 3. Tikhon preparing a little bit early for that transition. Small little bobble there as well from Tikhon, but still applying that pressure. Great proximity from him, bumper to bumper through that last and final transition and pushing Ostreka across that finish line. Let's take a second look here. Again, Martinez out front, working their way through turn 1. Nicely done out front, filling outside zone 2, 3 as well. Again, just locked into the angle is Ostreka all day, but he does make a little bobble there along that inside reference point as they work their way through outside zone 6 now. Again, Tikhon preparing for that transition in the chase position, and it pays off. He applies that pressure across the finish line. Back at the line, ready to go. Tikhon Pileski out front. Ostreka giving chase. They work their way through the 50 roll. And initiated, filling outside zone 1. And pulling away from Ostreka as we see Ostreka maybe drop a tire there in that chase position through outside zone 2. Down the hill, filling outside zone 5. Now is Tikhon transitioning into 6 with Ostreka catching back up and applying some pressure here before finishing the course. And he does so. Let's take another look. Back on the replay. Second half of the battle. Tikhon again out front. Initiating in, filling zone 1 nicely, and yeah, just a little tire drop there from Ostreka in that chase position, but catches back up quickly. He is now applying some pressure down the hill. A little contact there maybe before outside zone 5. Continuing on now. Tikhon very smooth through the course here and across that finish line. We go to our judges. Ostreka on the left, Tikhon on the right. Winner moves on into the top 4. And there it is, unanimous decision for Tikhon Pileski. We'll see him in the top 4 where he'll face off against the winner of our next battle, Stanislav Terasol and Vitaly Isoft. Isoft is going to lead first as he qualified 11th. Stanislav qualifying 14th. Here in the top 8. They're off. Initiating in, filling outside zone 1, a nice rotation angle as well. Look at there, bumper to bumper from the Ferrari there through that first transition. Falls back a little bit through the second one as they work their way down this hill. Now filling 5 into 6, and the big Ferrari makes a dive, staying there in that pocket through outside zone 6. Now into 7, staying off the wall of both of them and crossing that finish line. Great battles here in the top 8. Let's take another look. Tally out front, initiating in that IRT Z4. Good looking car indeed, but that Ferrari applying pressure, great proximity through, does sacrifice a little bit of angle there in that chase position from the Ferrari down the hill into outside zone 5, but in the end I think it pays off as he applies great proximity through the remainder of that course. Line back up and they're ready to go for the second half. Their top 8 battle, excuse me. I know where I am, I promise. Stanislav out front. Vitaly giving chase around that 50 roll. Quickly on throttle here. Nicely done to start the course out here in the second half of the battle. Vitaly reeling him in. Staying there with him, bumper to bumper through that transition down the hill, matching the angle and line a little bit better than Stanislav maybe did. Going into outside zone 5 now, into 7, and all the way out there to the wall. Almost a little contact before crossing it. We'll take another look. And Stanislav out front here in the top 8. Vitaly giving chase, second half of that battle. So we look at the replay. The mimic that Vitaly does here in this chase position is outstanding as they work their way down the hill now. Stanislav pouring on a little bit of angle before making that transition into 6. But Vitaly, again, great proximity, crossing that finish line. Yeah, maybe even a little bit of contact. We'll go to our judges. Terasol on the left, Isoft on the right. Gonna be the Ferrari or BMW Z4. A lot of fans of the Z4. I find myself a fan as well. After he submitted this thing, it looks great. Cool to see another car in the field. And it looks like we have a decision here. They're moving right for Vitaly. Vitaly gets the win, moves on into the final 4. We'll take a look at our bracket. That is going to do it. For the top 8, Alan Hines and Austin Zaleski moving forward, and Tikhon Pileski and Vitaly Isoft also moving forward. So we move into our top 4. Here it is. Top 4 to finals, Alan Hines and Austin Zaleski, and then up next, Tikhon Pileski and Vitaly Isoft. They're ready to go at the line for the top 4 here. Again, Alan Hines will lead. Austin Zaleski will give chase. for the first half of this top 4 battle here. Who will go to the finals? Alan Hines initiating in on a good line here, filling outside zone 2, working their way up into outside zone 3 now. Austin Zalewski and that Supra tucking the front bumper up underneath the rear bumper of that RTR Mustang, transitioning in to outside zone 6. A little bit of contact there from Austin as he backs up a little bit in outside zone 6, but then right there back on the door of Alan Hines before crossing the finish line. What a way to start the top 4. Again, here we go with that replay. Alan Hines out front, initiating in, looking good through turn 1, filling outside zone 2, 3 as well. Austin right there with him, and here's that transition, tucking that bumper up underneath. It takes him a second to get to the angle that he wants, and then here we go into that outside zone 6 where we see just a little bit of throttle. It's really good that Austin didn't make his way back to that wall, and they're maybe pushing Alan across that finish line. Back to the line. Austin Zalewski will now lead Alan Hines in the second half of their battle. Lights are on. Opening up throttle quickly. And good initiation. Look at Alan applying some pressure in that chase position. Big transition up the hill as he reels in Austin Zalewski. Zalewski is definitely fast in that Supra, but can't shake that RTR Mustang of Alan Hines in that chase position as we find them a little bit on the inside of outside zone 6 and then all the way out there to the wall for outside zone 7, finishing the course. Let's take another look here. Top 4, second half of the battle. Austin Zalewski out front, initiating in, filling 1, working their way through that first turn, filling 2 as well. Alan dropping back a little bit for that transition, as slowly reels him in for outside zone 3 and then backs up for that next transition. Great proximity down the hill. And yeah, maybe it seemed like they were a little bit more on the inside than I thought there, but then really filling outside zone 7. We go to our judges here in the top 4. Winner goes on to the finals. Alan on the left, Austin Zalewski on the right. Loser will stay around though for that third place battle. It looks like we have our decision, and Chris goes right for Austin Zalewski. We have a one more time in the middle from Ed, and Carl goes left. So we do have a one more time here in the top 4. They come back to the line. Alan Hines will lead first half of this one more time battle. Austin Zalewski will give chase. There we go, rotating in. Allen working his way through turn 1, filling outside zone 2, up into 3. Now Austin Zalewski applying some pressure in that chase position, and once more, bumper to bumper through that second transition of the course and outside zone 4, now into 6. And burying that Mustang's bumper along the wall, and oh my goodness, all the way out there to the outside is Alan Hines, and makes it work. Let's take another look. Allen out front in the one more time battle. Austin giving chase. Big rotation in. Driving down into outside zone 2, up into 3 now. Austin reeling him in quickly. Bumper to bumper once more through that transition, and once again reeling him in quickly. Bumper to bumper again into outside zone 6. Now working their way across, and again, I thought it was all over there for Alan Hines, but he makes it work. Crosses that finish line. Oh, lights are on. Austin Zalewski will lead Alan Hines the second half of their one more time battle here. The top 4. Round 2, Pittsburgh. Good initiation. Look at the proximity from Alan Hines out in that chase position. And almost pushing him through outside zone 3. Working their way down the hill now. Quickly reels him in. Good transition across. Austin filling outside zone 6 now. Allen again right there with him as they work their way through the last and final zone now, crossing the finish line. Let's take another look here. Second half of the one more time battle here in the top 4. Austin out front. Good initiation from him. Allen taking advantage. Diving on to the door, staying in the pocket there as well through outside zone 3. Quickly backs up to make that transition happen there as well into outside zone 6. Austin almost over rotating, but hangs on to it, keeping the momentum going and crossing that finish line. Another tough call for these judges here. The final 4. Allen on the left, Austin on the right. Winner moves on into the finals, and the other will stick around for their third place battle and another chance for a podium finish. Oh, and they're sliding left for Alan Hines. Alan Hines finds himself in the finals once more after finishing second for round 1. Round 2, back in the finals. But before that, Tikhon Pileski and Vitaly Isoft up next for the top 4. Oh, and we do have a judge, Ed.
Thought I'd just give the explanation here on that one as well. It was an extremely close battle. Both of them did very, very good runs. Obviously, their lead runs were both fantastic. Came down to chase. And for me and the others, it was really down to transition timings. Alan just managed to time his transitions ever so slightly better. Austin was sort of starting his transition a little bit early and then getting into it, whereas Alan was just matching the timing, transition to transition. You're both getting really good proximity throughout the run. That was all we could do to split the hairs there, just so that we could get on with it.
For sure, absolutely close battle. We appreciate the explanation from you, Ed.
Catch you in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, Tikhon Pileski and Vitaly Isoft. Vitaly will lead Tikhon first through the first half of their top 4 battle. IRT-Z4 from Vitaly. M2 from Tikhon. Quickly on throttle. Outside zone 1 nicely, 2 as well. Tikhon preparing early for that first transition. transition. It pays off, applying some pressure, and again, preparing early. Leaving 3, sticking with him down the hill, and into 6 now, all the way out there to the wall. Both of them almost hanging away over that wall as they work their way through the last and final outside zone and across that finish line. Let's take another look. Vitali out front here on the replay, first half of the top 4 battle. Deacon going for that side-by-side initiation and looking good doing so. Fills outside zone 3 with Vitali out front. 4 as well, and really in quickly, almost maybe giving him a shove there through outside zone 5, staying with him through 6 as well. But Vitali on a fantastic lead run there, crossing the finish line. Come back to the start line. Deacon out front. Vitali giving chase. Second half of this top 4 battle. Winner moves on into the finals to face Hines. The other will stick around for the 3rd place battle against Zalewski. And look at the proximity there. Making a little bit of contact before making that first transition into outside zone 3. Now working their way down the hill. Oh my goodness, and something happening there behind T-Con. Vitali is driving off the course. We'll take another look at it. Unfortunate one to see here in the top 4 before heading to the finals. In the second half of the battle here, we'll look at the replay. Good initiation from both of them. Yeah, something odd going on there in that chase position before making that first transition. Here they come down the hill, and then yeah, something going on there. Maybe a little bit of net code, because it almost looks like Vitali runs into T-Con, but not really. I don't know. Very interesting to see there. Maybe give the judges a little bit of time to analyze what just took place. There's our graphic. T-Con on the left, Vitali on the right. Winner will move on to the finals against Hines, and then the other will stick around for the 3rd place battle. And there they go. Yeah, left for T-Con. Pesky gets the win, and we will have another Allen and T-Con finals here for round 2, another rematch. But before we do that, we're gonna have our 3rd place battle between and Austin will lead first. As a good bit of America went by in the house. I don't know if anyone heard that. They were locked in. We have our 3rd place battle coming to the line now. Zalewski out front. He'll lead Vitali. Hopefully Vitali's connection is okay. Ready to go here for the 3rd place battle. Austin initiating in a little bit of separation between those 2 there. Working their way into outside zone 3, and Vitali closes the gap quickly. Bumper to bumper through the 2nd transition. Down the hill now, filling outside zone 5. Vitali reeling him back in, staying with him. Job from Vitali this time around here in the chase position and across that finish line. Let's take another look. Again, Austin out front in the first half of their 3rd place battle. Filling outside zone 1, 2 as well, and again a little bit of separation through turn 1, but then Vitali closing the door, backing up a little bit for that transition, letting that super in front of him transition. Filling 6 now. Good proximity from Vitali. And throwing it in there once more before crossing that finish line. And back at the line, ready to go for the second half of their third place battle. Vitaly out front this time. Austin Zalewski giving chase in his Supra. Snappy initiation from Vitaly out front. Austin right there with him and tucking the bumper for that first transition into outside zone 3. Now working their way down the hill. Looking good, locked into the angle. Vitaly out front. Great transition across to Austin and closing the door. Good proximity. Last and final zone coming up here and across that finish line, staying off the wall. Finishing out their third place battle. Let's take another look. Vitaly again out front in the Z4. Austin Zalewski giving chase and doing a good job. Bumper to bumper through that first transition, almost over rotating as Austin in that chase position. Keeps things going though. Slowly reeling him in down the hill there. Another good transition from Austin. That's a final one here. And pushing him across that finish line. Let's go to our judges for our third place. Who will find themselves on the podium here for round 2, Pittsburgh. Austin Zalewski on the left, Vitaly on the right. And there it is. Austin Zalewski gets the win over Vitaly Isoft, and he'll take home that third place position after qualifying 5th today and working his way through the bracket. But up next, our last and final battle here for round 2. Alan Hines and Tikhon Pileski find themselves here once more for round 2 after battling it out in round 1 in the finals. Tikhon taking home the win over Alan Hines. We have our rematch already here in round 2. Alan Hines in that lead position in the right lane. Tikhon Pileski in the left lane, ready to chase him down. Lights have illuminated and they are off. 50 roll and on throttle. Alan out front. Tikhon really going after it. Does it pay off? He makes quite the bobbles there in that chase position through turn 1, but gets it sort of together there. Drops back a little bit in that chase position through outside zone 3. He's right back into the fight now. Down the hill into outside zone 6 now. Alan locked into that lead position. Last and final transition across, filling that last and final zone and across the finish line. Interesting start here to the final battle. Let's take another look again. Alan out front, the RTR Mustang. Tikhon in his BMW in that chase position, almost making some contact there right after the initiation, but manages to keep things going anyway and get right back into the pocket for outside zone 3, and maybe a little hiccup leaving zone 3 as well, but smooth down the hill, stays with him through outside zone 6 now, preparing early once more as we've seen him do all day, and there he goes across the finish line. We'll switch it up here in the finals. Tikhon will now lead. Alan will give chase. And rematch from round 1 and many seasons. Both of these have 2 championships and have traded back and forth in those championships. Alan winning 1, Tikhon winning 1, Alan winning 1. Now they are here again in the finals. Tikhon out front, Alan chasing him down. Slow initiation there, but Alan finds himself on the inside of the course, making up some of that proximity. Bumper to bumper through that transition down the hill now. Tikhon pouring on some angle there in outside zone 5. Now into 6. Alan reeling him back in, staying with him. Last and final transition into outside zone 7. There they go across that finish line, door to door. Let's take another look. Do we have enough to have a winner here for round 2? Again, T-Con leading Alan Hines through the course. There we see Alan leaving zone 1 early, dropping a little bit on the inside there, which is okay for that chase to do. But at the same time, we want that chase to be following the same line as the lead car as they work their way now into outside zone 6. Alan right there with him, bumper to bumper through the last and final transition as well. And there they go. Across the finish line we go to our judges for possibly the last time of the day. Do we have a victor? Alan Hines on the left, T-Con on the right. We have one sliding left for Alan Hines. Chris, our head judge, going left. Ed choosing one more time. And Carl going left for Alan Hines. Alan Hines getting the win over T-Con Pesky. And now it's all evened out. Alan taking home the win here for round 2. T-Con taking home the win for round 1. And that's going to possibly even them out. We'll have to check their qualifying scores as well and their qualifying points that they received. But Alan qualifying first today, I think, is going to put him in that overall number 1 position. We'll take a look at our last and final bracket, the top 4 to finals, and how it played out. Alan getting the win over Austin Zalewski, moving on into the finals. T-Con getting the win over Vitalia, moving on to the finals. For Austin taking home 3rd place, and Alan taking home the win, and that makes it a perfect event for Mr. Alan Hines in that RTR Mustang. Fantastic job from all of these drivers. We even had a couple that made it through pretty far after going through that last 16 qualifying battles, and they're going to go for their additional now 4-man. T-Con almost ruining it all. They continue on. Whoa, boy. Oh, no. There they go, down the hill. Nicely done. Finishing the round out. I wonder if they'll do it again. Maybe clean it up. 0 on the board. And they left him behind. They just dropped him off for school and left him there. But again, that's gonna do it. Round 2, Pittsburgh. Again, we're gonna release the layout here shortly. I'm not gonna lie, I'm super hungry, so I'm probably gonna eat something first. And then there's a couple of the pit spots that I do have to fix. They're not, I didn't rotate them the proper way, but it didn't bother the pro drivers all that much. But, you know, my OCD will not allow it before releasing it to the public. But again, it's super fun layout. I'll probably, at least for the Discord release, include our line map that we also used today. That way, you know, everyone gets a little bit of direction for the layout and know how to maybe tackle it. Definitely pay attention to some of the things that the drivers did here today. And it's a bumper along the wall, not wheel to the wall. You can give yourself a little bit of room there on those public servers, and then it's definitely the line that you take into that last and final outside zone. Once you figure it out, you can kind of full throttle through it and no hesitation transition right on into that last and final zone. But it'll definitely take a little bit of practice, but I think the flow of everything will go nicely on the public servers. But I guess we'll find out, won't we? So I appreciate everyone for tuning in today. I hope I kept everyone entertained enough. I probably won't be able to speak tomorrow, but you know, it was worth it. It was absolutely fantastic round here at the Pittsburgh International Race Complex. Big shout out to our sponsors, our title sponsors, Sim Magic, Extreme Racing for Sim Racing, Grip Roll, Yoga Design, and Ali Yusuf, and everyone in the background as well. Our 3 judges today, Chris, Ed, and Carl. Dion in the background as well. Cages in the background running the light and race control, as well as Pontus running that secret drone we have behind the scenes that we're trying to perfect and get it ready to implement it into our stream.
And just very quickly before I let you close the stream, Craig,
no.
I just want to say a massive thank you for holding the fort down without Tanner today. You've done an incredible job both running the live stream and commentating.
I was trying. We made it through. We made it through. A really fun round too. But yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all judges too. Y'all have to sit through and make decisions on these insanely close battles. I'm glad I'm not a judge. I'd rather do this and just lose my voice.
Well, yeah, everyone's got their weird little autism.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right. And again, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We absolutely appreciate it. It keeps us going. Well, nothing really as far as a competition round for February. Nothing happening. But we definitely have something going on in February, so stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed to our socials. Join our Discord if you haven't. Click our link tree in Instagram, scroll to the bottom and click the little Discord icon. Join the Discord. Everything that we ever release gets released to Discord first, and then it comes the social media stuff later. So that's going to be it. Round 2 here at Pittsburgh. Stay tuned for that track release. Have a good night.